Welcome back to our conversation with U.S. Attorney Rachael Rollins. Rachael, in your recent letter to the mayor of Everett informing him that you're investigating possible civil rights violations in that city's government, you cited the resignations of two city officials recently over an uproar over racist comments they made. You said you'll be looking at whether others have engaged in this kind of behavior, but what's the actual purview of your investigation? It's not speech. However heinous and racist, is not necessarily illegal. What are you looking at?
Great question. So I think a lot of people understand, John, criminal civil rights violations, right? We've seen with the death of Ahmaud Arbery, the death of George Floyd, the local DA comes in and charges those possibly, or the state's attorney, as a homicide, but then the Department of Justice comes in and charges it as a hate crime, right? That's criminal civil rights. There are civil rights where you have the ability in employment, in housing, in voting, to not have your constitutional rights violated in those arenas, or, for example, with state action, excessive force claims or pattern or practices by law enforcement groups like the police department. So when we look at Everett, what happened was, quite frankly, I had read dozens of articles in the news. Journalists matter, in the sense that they were telling the story of multiple different things happening in Everett, not just the Globe, the local paper in Everett, other syndicates, and we just inquired. We simply said, here are all of these. We sent an annotated letter with attaching these articles. Individuals that had stepped down themselves had made admissions. We're not the only ones. This is happening elsewhere. What we wanted to make sure was we kicked the tires and saw what is happening in Everett, because they are a majority minority city with over 50% of their population is Black, Latino, or AAPI community, and less than 2% of their city employees make up that population as well. That doesn't dispositively mean they're discriminating, but it's enough for us to say, should we look into this? And that's all we're doing. It's an inquiry. If we find nothing, I promise I'll be just as loud as we were in the letter. But if we do find something, we're going to be speaking with our partners in Maine Justice in Washington, D.C. to see what we find.
Well, you've also opened a probe with the city of Quincy for its resistance to the rebuilding of the bridge that was the only overland access to Long Island, which the city of Boston used to run an addiction treatment center and hopes to use again. Now, Quincy is objecting to this. They cite traffic and safety concerns. You're looking at whether they're violating the Americans with Disabilities Act by stalling that project. Wouldn't such a finding open the door to all sorts of prosecutions of neighbors who object to the siting of social services in their neighborhoods, what we call NIMBYs?
Right, NIMBYs, right. Yeah, listen, what's happening with Quincy is, I find it ironic that there are issues with traffic regarding the Long Island Bridge, but have you ever had the pleasure of going to Marina Bay in Quincy? It's gorgeous, and that's where the beautiful people go to spend time on their yachts and drink $17 beverages, which when in my current government job I can't afford.
I wouldn't know about that either.
Neither do I. But my point is were there traffic concerns when you were building Marina Bay? Were there concerns, the same concerns that you were raising regarding this population of people currently, either driving through your neighborhoods or 18-wheeler trucks to build a bridge? How many trucks went through to build Marina Bay? All we're doing is we are following all of the articles that have pointed out these discrepancies, and we want to make sure that there's nothing nefarious going on. But
to my question, and we're running short on time here, but could this be the canary in the coal mine for more aggressive, if not prosecutions, governmental response to, as I mentioned, NIMBYs, people not in my backyard?
Yeah, I'm not looking to prosecute neighbors who have concerns about their encroaching on their private property. That's not what this is about. What this is about is, making sure that individuals that have a substance use disorder, which is a protected category of people, get access to care, and not just in Black and brown and poor neighborhoods, everywhere.
I wish we had a half hour. I got so much more I want to talk to you about, but please come back again later this year. Very informative. Thank you. Rachael Rollins, U.S. Attorney for the state of Massachusetts.